Welcome to TISM Talk. It just gets me every time. It's basically a podcast style video where I talk about autism and motorsport. So as somebody who is autistic and loves motorsports, I just want to let everyone else know that just because you've been diagnosed, that doesn't mean that you can't do cool things like ride dirt bikes. On top of being on the spectrum and riding dirt bikes, I also live in foreign country. I am technically what you call an expat. So I live in Mexico and my Spanish is subpar. So on top of already not really being able to communicate with people in my own native language, I have the wonderful pleasure of failing to communicate with people in Spanish as well. So according to ChatGTP, someone on the spectrum will have a harder time networking because we have communication issues, which is friggin' true. But being the fact that I live in Mexico, I already have plenty of communication issues. So the story I want to tell today was about this time that I got invited to a race. It was a small town, and a kid, literally a kid, was like, hey, sent me a message on Instagram. It was like, hey, my town is putting on a race. My town, which being from America, this is a very weird concept to put in Mexico, and apparently this is not all that weird. He said, my town's putting on a race. I follow you on Instagram and TikTok and all this stuff. Can you come? And I'm like, where is it? You know, he's like, oh, well, it's here. It's an hour away. It's an hour from where you live. And I'm like, cool. Yeah, I'll be there. Whatever. Sounds cool. I'm from a small town in Michigan, so I understand that having an event that can bring money to a small town is a very big deal. Long story short, I go the next day to the race, and it is big. Like, not big as in a lot of people, but not big as in a lot of competitors, but a lot of people. Like, the whole town shows up. The whole town. And this is not normal in Mexico. Usually the spectators are like, there's less spectators than there are competitors in the races. So, I mean, I'm a little nervous. But the organizers are really laid back and calm, and even though I barely know what they're saying, I speak more Spanish than I'm giving myself credit for it. I understand what they're doing, and they're like, how many laps do you want to do? And they vote on it, and we all kind of discuss it as competitors. And we do it 2 heats because there's so many competitors, so the winner, or the top 3 of each heat, goes on to the final race. So anyways, I end up winning the race. And it's funny, this is the first time I ever won any money racing. It might actually be the only time I've ever won money racing. I don't remember. I think it may be. But what was so odd was, like, someone was like, hey, someone said in English, let's go enduro. And I was like, oh, what's up? Like, you know me, that's cool. And like, yeah, can I get a picture with you? I'm like, yeah, sure, like, whatever. And then, like, another person comes up and is like, hey, I follow you on Instagram, can I get a picture with you? I'm like, sure. Taking pictures is something I don't dislike doing it, but it definitely is something I have to be prepared for because of, you know, touching random people. Touching people is not something I'm very good at. And so, yeah, they start lining up. People are lining up to get pictures with me. And I'm like, I'm laughing because my wife is there and she's looking at me, and we both, like, know, we're both like, what the heck is going on? You're like a little mini celebrity in this small town because of TikTok and Instagram and all this stuff. I had no idea that was going to happen. I was completely surprised. And yeah, so I ended up taking pictures for like 5 to 10 minutes with just random people, and it got to the point where the people that I knew were like taking pictures with me as a joke because they could tell, like, I wasn't uncomfortable to the point where I was like, get away, but I was definitely uncomfortable in the sense, like, I'm touching a lot of random people. I'm happy that these people like me. It was just a shock. I guess what I'm trying to say is, even though in the moment it was really hard and I was like, hey, what's going on? Like, why are all these people wanting to touch me and, like, put their arms around me and get a picture with me? It was uncomfortable, but because I'm not a kid anymore, I know how to handle my stress now. I was able to just like stay calm. It was a lot, guys. It was a lot for someone on the spectrum. But anyways, I was able to stay calm and smile and get all these pictures. And it's just such a cool experience that because I was able to work through those stresses that I got to experience. Because I feel like in my early 20s or in my teenage years, or heck, even probably into my late to mid 20s, I would not have been able to do that. It would have been too much, and I would have basically curled up into a little ball and ran away. Not really, but it would have been really, really hard. So now that I have all the tools, and it was just so cool that I was able to experience that, be a little mini celebrity for a day. And now I have the story where it's like, hey, you remember that time that I was like a friggin' mini celebrity to this small town because I won a race? And it's definitely one of the few times that I felt cool. So yeah, it's not something that someone on the spectrum gets to feel. Anyways, thanks for hanging out for TISM Talk. That name cracks me up.